Welcome to Steve 87th, Puget Sound and Pacific Railroad.
Hi everyone, this is Steve 87th PSAP Railroad, or Puget Sound and Pacific. This is my channel, and I just wanted to invite you guys to come along and watch as I build my railroad, build up some kits, do some kit bashing, and running trains like the one behind me. So if this is what you guys like to watch, stick around for a while and see if you like the channel.
Hey Model Railroaders, Steve 87th here. Today's installment is about putting on the walkways. So let's get right to it.
Okay, model railroaders. So you come up and you ask, why did he stop doing what he was doing? There's a big reason. We're going to move this a little bit so I can actually get to the area that I need to get to. Luckily, the camera is still in the same place where it needs to be at. It's just I need to move the table so I can get there. So this is real simple. It's going to go from here to here. This is going to go from here to here. Okay? Now, if we look over here, we see that we've got a motor section. So I've got a choice on my motor section here. I can put the motor section hanging out there, or I can hang it out here. Either way, I'm going to put a drive motor on this side, so it's going to hang out over on this edge. So either way that I go with this, I have to have two motor sections stacked on top of one another. So the question is, do I want to hang the motor out that way, or do I want to hang it out over this way? Well, I'm over here. This is an industrialized area. It seems like this is a more logical place to put it. So the biggest thing that we want to need to do is we want to be able to put the motor on the correct side that we're going to do this. And then the next question is where do I want my walkways? Well, if you look the way that I did this walkway comes up so that you go around the motor. So in this case, I want my motor on this side. So I want to put my walkway away from the camera. Okay, so the walkway should come on the side that says the 12 over here. So I'll have to remember that. It goes on the 12 side. Okay, so now the next question is, where do I put my walkway on this one? Okay, and again, this is real important. This is why you don't want to put your motor section on yet until you get everything figured out on which way you're going to do it. Okay, so walk, 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 walk. Motor section is going to be out over here, so you got to get around it somehow. Do you want to go under this? Or do you want to go all the way around the motor? So here you can see you can go all the way around the motor and then hop on out over that way. Or we could put it on this way. I'm thinking I want to put the walkway on the outside section here. So we want to go outside, outside. So we're going to go motor, inside over here, motor, inside or outside over here. Okay, so that's what I got to figure out. That's how the way that I've got to make things look. Okay, so now remember I said walkway out here, walkway out over here. It's real important because we're going to glue the walkways on. You need to glue the walkways on before you put the legs on. The reason is, this is why we're using the glass top. Okay. So we can come out here. We see the motor is going to go that far out. We know there's going to be a motor sitting on that deck. So we just want to find out where our first leg is going to be, and then we just start gluing those on. Believe it or not, it's just that easy. However, you want to make sure that they stick out enough. So on this one we did, it sticks out about 1 inch. So we're actually going to make it stick out, we're going to go a full 1.25 inches on this so that we know that we've got enough. And then on the other end, we don't have to go out as far. But this is the cool stuff. This is the cool thing about this. We'll put that on afterwards to make sure that we get a good enough connection. This is why I said you want a glass top. So 1.25 inches, I'm going to start about there. There is no hookups. There's no science to this. Actually, depending upon the way you do this, as you guys saw in the pictures in the front, you can do this multiple different ways. However, the way that I like to do this is as I come up, lay this down, get my 1.25" overhang, and I simply just glue it in place. And what's funny is I don't have to do anything. I just keep gluing it. Once I got that first one in where I know I'm going to set it at, I can just put in the rest of them now. So this is where you want to use your thicker glue. There's not a lot of edge to glue onto this. So what you have to glue on, you just got to glue to it. So you want to use the thicker glue rather than the thin stuff. The thin stuff, these are kind of dissimilar, compatible plastics, I believe, just to make sure. So nice little bead of this. The glass, what's great about the glass is the glue doesn't really stick to it. Now you can glue those two portions together where they come together. Really hard to see though. There's not a lot of meat to glue those onto anyway. So get it on there, move it a little bit, and you know that it's glued fine. So this is the way that you put these on. Again, simple, fast, easy. These grates do cost a little bit, but the effect that you get with them is awesome. The nice thing is this tube is square. These are nice and square. So since everything is square, and you get a good bead of glue in there, you just have to hold it on there for the glue to set up a little bit. And they will set there. This one's just being a little bit of a butthead. Okay, there we go. We got that. We come to this one over here. Now we come to the other end. So this is where we have to make a choice. Again, we've got to get out to the end and then past it. But if I do it this way, I'm going to have a really small area that I need to cut that with. And I'm not going to have as much a grip to get in there. So the good thing is I can go ahead and glue this one on because I don't have to put in a big platform like I do on the other end. And plus the ends of these are dry right now. So I will glue this on because I do want to wrap around on this one. I want to be able to get to this other side because, you know, maintenance comes up. But the funny thing is, like I said, that is so small that you don't want to do that. So I want to have some overlap. So what you really want to do, you want to turn this over when you're cutting this. And again, can't stress enough, this is where this blade works really well. You just want to come in here at one of these end points. The good thing is your knife blade will come right up to there. You want to make sure that you've cut enough off that you're going to have more than enough to go around. So then you just come in and cut. Now, you're never going to be able to cut through the middle of this, so you're always going to have a grate. But the thing is these grates, when they're done, they're actually open and they're a little serrated ones. So this will be good for an end cap going out that way. All right, so that'll give us some meat. So that means we have to cut 2 more pieces. We have to cut 1 more piece, and that may even be the wraparound piece that we put on here. And we did that to ensure that we have something to attach to, something really solid, not just that one little tiny piece of end. Because these are thin, because there isn't a lot of support underneath this, you could do a whole lot of support, but the thing is you don't really need it because these will adhere to this other side, and it works just fine. So we come up, we come over here. We know about how far out a deck is. So if you look here, you can see, let's see if I can zoom in on that. If you look here, you can see that by turning it over, we can see that if we come to this section right here, that is a width of a deck that goes across. That's just an awesome, awesome way for it to turn out. So it gives us a nice little cutting area to go to. We've got our next section that goes in. See, this goes really quickly. Again, I've said this is not a hard build. It's a very, very tedious build. Okay, lots of little parts, lots of little things that go in. Okay, again, just make sure that you just break that tension over there, and it'll be off. So we can just go ahead now. It is just a little short there on the corner. There's a couple of things we can do. We can move this and put a little bit of gap in there. If anybody's ever been up on these grates, there's gaps all over the place on these things. So we can do one of two things. We can make this so that we have a section that goes around there, and it looks like if we do that, we may just be able to put a piece right in between of grate that can go right in between those two spots. So for you guys in construction, the way that we model is the same way that we build things, right? Gives us a little area there. Just take our extra grate and we just stick it between the two of them. Put a little glue in there. Move that around. And you got a nice little service platform. That's all it takes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Set that up. I'll show you what we do with the panel over on this end and glue these all together. All right, so that's what I've got for right now. I'll come back to you after I get the other part done. Okay, since these are the last pieces, we have to do this a little bit differently. Part of this is thinking about what we got to do. This is the motor housing. All right, so this is our motor housing for the other one. Now, how does this motor housing work? Well, this motor housing works such that this goes over top of it like this. All right, and then the motor is going to be underneath there. Well, I got to get down to this somehow too, right? So this is actually going to be over top of this. So I want to make sure that I've got enough grate, and this will probably just be a ladder that comes down over here where they can get around. But I also have to get, just like on that side, I've got to get to the other side of this motor. So we're going to come up and we're going to put a grate on this side, which you can see starts about there. These are always kind of nice because these are coming out in a great shot, partly because these themselves, these grates, are close enough that it gives me a nice clean shot. So let's glue these grates on. There's a reason why we're doing this now. And again, this is going to give me enough catch on the other side so that it'll work. Just want to make sure that that's that deep. Okay. Just like that. All right. This is that kind of fun scratch building that Vinny is always talking about. That is frustrating and rewarding at the same time. So we need to cut another space off that's going to go between the two of those again, just like we did on the other one. And then we'll attach this to the other side. Always got to drop stuff at the end. But this is where, if you drew the whole thing out, it would be fine. You could draw it out and all. I don't normally like to do that. I do have drafting skills. I just don't want to spend the time doing my drafting because That's what I do a lot of to begin with. So that is a little bit too small. So it looks like we're going to have to go a full width on this one. So I'll just cut another one of these. You can see we still got grate left over. The good thing is I got more grate coming because I really like this stuff. It works wonderful and it looks fantastic. Okay. And that's going to go in there like that. And we're going to let that go ahead and dry before we put the whole rest of this together. Now you see, this is where it starts getting important, is knowing where ladders are going to be, how people are going to get from one place to another. It's not just putting these things up. It's how does the system work as a whole. Okay, so we're going to let all that dry, and we're going to come back later after this is all set up, and then we'll finish this. We'll continue on. Okay. All right, everyone. So welcome back. It's been a little while. I went ahead and completed gluing all of these on. You can see that now there's a full set and they're just all glued on by the one. So one thing that I did not do on my other set, which I can go back and correct if I want to, I didn't put these extra walkways on. Now this one is going to be really important, this extra long length, because I've got a ladder. Oops, sorry. This extra long length on this one because I've got a ladder that's got to come down on these. But the original one that I made, I didn't come around the corner to have them fix those up. So now, one of my problems is I'm running out of material again. This is all I have left for the deck. So you can see I still got deck to go around here. I got deck that has to come out over here. And I got deck that has to come out over there. And that's for the motor to sit on. So there's a couple of different things to do now, right? There are the drops that have to be put on. This one doesn't get a drop. And then there's also all of these beams that go on. These beams go on pretty much the same way that we just did everything else, right? That's why you want to kind of glue these first and let them dry nice and tight, because all you're going to do is come along the bottom and glue these on. Okay, now the one that I have to worry about is here on this hole, because I actually have to put in another piece of tubing here that will connect from this tubing down to this tubing, or actually it's going to go the other way. But anyway, this tube is meant to be able to connect from one side to the next, right? But the other thing is the way that this is going to work is this tube will basically be on here like this at this end. But I need it to be tall enough so that I can get guys up and down in it. Oh, sorry, wrong one. This is really going to be, sorry, I had it the wrong way. Okay. This one will actually come over to here. Okay. So you can see that we've got the staircase, the stair step that's going to go down. I'm not exactly sure. I think I'm going to take the stairs off of here to bring them down over to there with a little ladder kind of going across. That would be kind of nice looking. But that's kind of the setup that it has to look like. And I have to have it tall enough for people to get underneath it. Okay. So, but since I don't exactly know what the height of that's going to be, it's going to be at least an inch, probably an inch and a half. Now, I can cover up the bottoms of these holes if I want to, but in reality, nobody's going to see them from underneath on the model. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. Plus, it gives me flexibility. So we're going to let these dry now that all of that is up there. And then we're going to figure out how this is all going to go on. And then we're still going to wait to put these in where they actually, sorry, keep putting the wrong one in there. You can see here, one's going to go here, and then the other one's going to go on the other end, right at the end. But I need to leave enough room to allow these to go down, because one side of this gets attached directly to the motor area, And this one actually is going to extend out so that it'll catch those legs right there. The other one will be hanging off over here. This then creates that 1 inch of separation from one side to the next, which is where we'll put the channels in between the two of them. Okay, and then we'll just run some channels across on the back. So that's going to be our next step after we make sure that this is all nice and dry.
All right, now that the walkway is installed, we can start moving on to how our drops are going to be so that we can line everything up and start building the rest of it. So that'll be in our next set. Everybody, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next installment.